You're watching FARC Racing on OEN, now gluten-free. FARC Racing on OEN is brought to you by Freedom Missiles, recklessly wasting taxpayer money since 1980. And by Matt O'Reilly, attorney at Internet Law. Give us credit for shit we don't own the rights to, or we'll sue your monkey ass. Kevin Monroe leads the field to the green flag in 50-50 sprint number 1 here at the Duckroll 200K. A lot of people are nervous about this race, as several tires were exploding in practice. Kiki Hitsuno, not afraid to make a charge around the outside of the 63 and take the lead of the race. But her teammate Laura Cyrus challenges her coming down the backstretch, and the 3 has a much better run than the 4. Laura Cyrus moves into the lead at the end of lap number 1. Zach Webster is going to get into the back of JW Lester, and Lester hard into the tire wall. Zach Webster out of the race as well. This was coming to the end of lap number 1. Rip Tyler now around the right side of Laura Cyrus, coming down the backstretch. So 3 lead changes here in the first couple of laps. Leland Rogers and Mo Lester going at it for about the 28th position. Leland Rogers making his first FARC Elite Series start in a couple of years. The Canadian running in front of his home crowd for his Almost Evil Racing team, the same team he fields in the FARC Modified Series. Leigh Gruel returning to the FARC Elite Series as well for the Herzog Racing team. Gruel races in touring cars with this team, and he's up to 16th place here on lap 3 in front of Earl McDermott. Taylor Brillin into the back of Radomir Stanichev, both of them off and into the tire wall. These two were fighting for 11th place, but now they are out. Taylor Brillin won the pole for the Spanish Beer 500, but she has yet to finish a race this season. Got another Canadian in the field, John Quackenbush, all over the back of Kevin Monroe, who has dropped through the field like a stone in these opening laps. But Quackenbush has got a problem coming out of turn 1. Gruel into the back of the 70. Quackenbush going around in front of traffic, sitting in the middle of the racing line. Dan Leckleiter and Makoto Yamada clip the back of that 70 car, as well as Kerry Ians. All 3 of those cars out of the race. That was a much bigger wreck than it really should have been, although Quackenbush was sitting right in the middle of the racing line. Laura Cyrus brings the field into the pits here on coming to the end of lap number 6. Pit stops are not mandated for these sprint races, but these teams are going to want to bring the cars in and change tires, as tires are wearing out very quickly. Rip Tyler coming in at the end of lap 7, but coming out of the pit lane, he clips the 6 of Akira Sukari, making her first start of the year. Megan Driver now all over the 24 car, the 2012 champion. This is going to be for the race lead. New leader, Megan Driver, the winner of the Lone Pros 200. Joseph Howard having some trouble. He's stuck in the pit lane. The 17 crew hard at work. Although Howard now going to fall out of contention to transfer. Jason Bates having problems as well. Akira Sukari now has a run on the 24 of Rip Tyler. She's going to take the 2nd position rather easily. This is looking like a 3-car battle for the win. Coming to 5 laps to go, only 13 laps in this race, 50 kilometers around this Mosport International Raceway. And now Akira Sukari with a run on the 40 of Megan Driver coming down the backstretch. Sukari is the new race leader as Kelly Posadas loses her brakes and gets into the back of Kyle Gaffigan coming into the hairpin. Posadas now stalled in that 88 car. Teammates at Motor Assault Racing going at it for 6th place. Kiki Hitsuno around the 3 of Laura Cyrus. Akira Sukari now coming up on the lapped car of Ash Bridges, making his FARC Elite Series debut for Stallman Racing. The Australian has been very slow this weekend, but Sukari has no problem getting around the O2 car. Lucas Sweeney out from 8th place with an engine failure with just 4 laps to go. Sweeney's got 2 top 5 finishes this season, but the rest of it has not been so great. Seiji Daiho also out with an engine failure on lap number 11. Business as usual for the Kurt Walker Motorsports drivers, at least their regular drivers, as Akira Sukari comes around the final couple of corners unopposed, and she will take her first win of the season. Sukari running a few FARC races this year as her Dash Cup commitments allow. The 2009 Series champion still showing how to get things done in this series. Rip Tyler led the most laps, but he comes home in 2nd place. That's his first top 5 finish of the season. He's been struggling quite a bit in these opening races after losing the 2013 championship to Joseph Howard, who has also been struggling quite a bit in these opening races. Megan Driver comes home third. Kevin Monroe, after winning the pole, dropped to 8th place. Ryan Griffin with a strong top 10 finish. And Leland Rogers claims the high climber bonus. He started 31st and finished 14th. As Bigsby Foot leads the field to the green flag of 50-50 sprint number 2. Leslie Riggs on his outside, 3 wide for 3rd place, very briefly between Madrigal, Tammy Barnton, and Harry Enola. Foot pulls out to about a 5-car length lead at the start. Ryan Barrett for the Race Sim team, very slow at the start, coming across the line in last place, way behind the field. But we've got trouble here on the first lap. Leitner into the back of Splicin, Gabriel Messina into the wall, and over in that 238 car, Ralph West and Taylor Matthews into the wall as well. Big pile up here in turn 2 on the first lap of the race. Harry Enola now has a run on Bigsby Foot for the lead. Enola made a habit last year of winning by capitalizing on everyone else's failures, but he's got a very quick car to start the race with today. Ben Atkins getting caught up in a mess between Laura Ocean and Robert Nelson. Nick Azure and Richard Scott in car 27 also involved. Nick Azure out of the race here in the opening laps. So business as usual for Azure. Jamie Flock in the second Herzog car, car number 95, the Master Spark Inglesby, running in 7th place here in the opening laps. The number 84 car for HQS Racing is being driven this week by Caitlin Richler, the late model driver all the way from Alaska. Richler running 13th in her FARC debut. I believe that this team has sponsorship lined up for Richler, but that deal hasn't come through yet, so Richler still driving Ramsey Cockener's cars. Ralph West, after getting caught up in that lap 1 crash, finally comes to a stop on lap number 2. Ralph West, the FARC modified driver and son of one-time race winner and Jason Bates' spotter, James West. Anthony Griffith around Bigsby Foot for 2nd place. Henry Santos making a very rare start in this X2 car, running in 20th place right now. Santos off to a pretty respectable start. Ryan Barrett punted off the track by Isaac Leitner, and hard into the wall goes the 14-year-old legendary Class D driver from Race Sim. Leslie Riggs kicking off pit stops here on lap 7. Again, pit stops not mandatory in these short races, but these tires are wearing so quickly that if you leave the car out too long, they'll probably explode. Harry Enola following suit on lap number 8, still leading this race, but not for long as Anthony Griffith gets out first. A very slow stop for Harry Enola is going to cost him a couple of positions. Reed Bullitt, the Rookie of the Year leader, making his 2nd start of the season, running in 19th place right now. Bullitt was the Rookie of the Year leader primarily because he was only sitting on his 3rd place finish from the rookie shootout. Caden Beckett, also very slow like his Race Sim teammate. He gets punted off the track by Vincenzo Focusato, and he goes out of the race. Libby Bell turned around by Aoi Mizushima in the 264 at Messina Motorsports. Bell was running in 7th. 4 laps to go now. Bigsby Foot also in trouble. Your pole sitter stopping in the middle of the track. Allie Riggs hard into the back of the 14.
I just hope that broke your goddamn neck.
Allie Riggs clearly not happy with Bigsby Foot stopping in the middle of the racing line as Anthony Griffith tries to take out Tom Brayton on the last lap of the race. Brayton bounces off the wall and keeps going. Anthony Griffith very lucky that he didn't take himself out of the race as Griffith comes around the final couple of corners, and he will take his first win of the season. Griffith not running all of the races this year, but he's still off to a very strong start for Team Thunder. Michael Madrigal coming home 2nd. Harry Enola has to settle for 3rd after leading the most laps, but he had a very slow pit stop. Isabella Messina, we didn't talk about her very much, but she snagged the high climber bonus. Leslie Riggs 5th. Caitlin Richler 6th on debut. Jamie Flock 7th in his first race in a couple of years. And Henry Santos finishes 12th and transfers to the feature. Laura Cyrus on pole for the 51-lap Duckroll 200K. Cyrus pulling ahead on the Roush Air flying start, leaving Megan Driver and Akira Sukari to battle for 2nd place. Riding on board with Harry Enola on lap number 2, he gets into the back of the 16 of Libby Bell, turns her into the wall, and that's both Bell and Enola out of the race. Enola not doing much good in trying to follow up on his third place finish yesterday. Also on lap 2, Nanami Miura getting turned around by Jessica Graham. Both those cars into the wall, and Miura goes out of the race. This will be her 4th DNF of the year. The only other drivers with 4 DNFs are Zach Webster and Taylor Brillin. Akira Sukari in the other IDRA car, still trying to challenge Megan Driver for 2nd place as Laura Cyrus gets away. Tanner Clayson up in smoke here on lap number 4. And Zachary Zins goes into the wall. I think he may have slipped in some oil. Surely he's going to claim that this was an assassination attempt on the part of Clayson. Leland Rogers, another poor qualifying effort for the 665, but Kyle Gaffigan gets into the back of him, and Leland Rogers goes out of the race on lap 4. Todd Stater blows up on lap 5. Car number 422 was running in 9th place. Ryan Griffin in trouble as well. Jamie Flock kisses the tire barrier trying to get around him. Griffin in a very bad spot right in the racing line coming out of the final corner. Further up the track, Akira Sukari's engine expires while chasing Megan Driver, and that will be the end of the race for Kurt Walker Motorsports. Leslie Riggs goes around to take over the 3rd spot. Car 6 continuing to slow down. She's not really making an effort to get out of the racing line, but Jim Hayes blows up at the same time, and there's a crash behind him. Anthony Griffith and Ashley Tucker are around and into the wall. Griffith was coming over to the right to avoid the 6 car and swept into the path of Ashley Tucker. Sukari and Griffith, both the race winners from yesterday, in trouble, and Griffith's engine expires while limping back around, so that just adds insult to injury for Anthony Griffith. Kyle Gaffigan and Jessica Graham get together, and they go into the wall. These two drivers seem to be struggling with not hitting other cars today, but they will keep going, continuing their quest to do more damage. Vincenzo Focusato running 4th. Kicks off pit stops here on lap number 9. Laura Cyrus comes in 1 lap later from the race lead. Ryan Griffin up in smoke shortly after being released from the pit lane, and that will be the end of the day for Ryan Griffin. Tammy Barnton turned into the tire wall by Kiki Hitsuno from 8th place. Kiki Hitsuno not paying any attention at all and taking Tammy Barnton out of the makings of a good run. Kevin Monroe has been in the pit lane a couple times, and he will lose a few laps as he struggles with that 63 car. Laura Cyrus has quite a gap over Megan Driver after pit stops cycle out. Leslie Riggs has to come back into the pits due to a cut tire, and Isabella Messina now has problems. Car 251 sitting in the middle of the racing line. Barton Sandy, car 92, running up in 16th place, and it seems that a train has started forming behind him, consisting of Scott Dalitz, Mo Lester, and Henry Santos. Henry Santos normally shows up to the bigger races, but here he is in Mosport, running in 16th. Earl McDermott, my usual partner here in the OEN booth, running 9th in the Duckroll development car. Earl McDermott has not experienced any of the tire problems that some of the other teams have had this weekend. Kiki Hitsuna not playing very nice with Rachel Rainsford trying to get by her for the 5th spot. Rainsford surrenders the spot, probably fearing for her own safety. Scott Dalitz gets tired of the 59 of Jessica Graham getting in the way. Graham shoves him back across the path of Mo Lester, and Scott Dalitz goes into the tire wall in turn 1, and he will go out of the race. It's interesting to see these lapped cars trying to assert some kind of authority. Vincenzo Focusato, coming to the end of lap number 16, is once again the first to kick off routine pit stops amongst the leaders. But Megan Driver comes in 1 lap later along with several other cars. Laura Cyrus following suit 1 lap later. And Megan Driver now has Laura Cyrus in her sights after a very strong stop by the 40 team and a poor stop by the 3. Also helping Driver was Cyrus staying out 1 extra lap on those old tires. And now Driver right on the bumper of the 3. And there she goes around the right side of Cyrus, coming down the backstretch. Cyrus not putting up much of a fight as Driver charges past in the Frozer Graphics Leonard. The Lakoya power under the hood of that car really starting to kick in as Driver takes the lead. Henry Santos in the X2 off the pace. He's headed towards the pits. I think he may have a cut tire on that X2 car. Kiki Hitsuno up in smoke now. I dare say that's karmic retribution for Hitsuno as she goes out of the race from 4th. And now we see the advantage that Laura Cyrus is getting from those slightly newer tires, as well as the use of her bumper as she challenges Megan Driver. But now our leaders have to pick their way through this lap traffic. Robert Nelson holding up the 3, and then he moves over to the right, allows Laura Cyrus to go by, and holds up the 40. And now they've got to deal with Jessica Graham, who's caused more than a few problems today. Graham holding up the 3. Cyrus now slowing down. Laura Cyrus is off the pace and headed towards the pits. Cut tire on that 3 car. And I think we know why. I saw a bit of debris on the track from an incident just ahead of them. Kevin Monroe into the side of the 72 of Jared Pierce. I think I saw some shrapnel flying off that 72 car, and Laura Cyrus ran over that and cut her tire down. And now Laura Cyrus goes from challenging for the lead all the way down to 7th, which in and of itself is not bad. She didn't lose so much ground due to the attrition we've had in this race. Rip Tyler now inherits the 2nd position, the 2012 champion, in car 24. Vincenzo Focusato up to 3rd now. The FARC Lobo Truck Tour driver from Italy, having a good showing so far. Michael Madrigal and Bob Steffens battling for 4th place. Steffens all over the back of that pie car. I think Madrigal may be holding up the 7 a little bit. Steffens into the back of Madrigal, and they're both into the wall. So Steffens seems to agree that Madrigal was holding him up. And Madrigal stays well out of the 7's way. Steffens takes the position as we see Earl McDermott off the pace and on the side of the course from the 8th spot. Tire problems striking the Duckroll team now. And this is the first tire problem they've had this weekend. Vincenzo Focusato and Megan Driver hit the pit lane. Laura Cyrus came in and changed all 4 tires when she ran over that debris, so she can stay out a few laps longer than the rest of the field now. She picked up a race lead, but now pits at the end of lap 29, handing the lead back over to Megan Driver. More problems for Henry Santos as the X2 car is now up in smoke. Santos, 2nd start of the year, 2nd DNF. Ashley Tucker out of the race from 9th with a blown engine as well. Jamie Flock, the FARC Modified driver, in the 95 for the Herzog Racing Team, running in 10th, and he seems to be holding up the lapped cars of Kevin Monroe and Earl McDermott. McDermott and Monroe are on newer tires than the 95, but I don't believe that they are battling for position. I wonder if it might do Flock some good to let these 2 go. Laura Cyrus, after her problems, has been steadily picking up positions. She's up to 5th now and challenging Bob Steffens for 4th. Cyrus is on newer tires than Steffens, and as we saw earlier today, she is not afraid to use the bumper. Rip Tyler, now with the problem. Car 24, pulling to the side of the course, and he will go out of the race. Tough break for Sergio Power. All 3 of his cars now out of this weekend's races. Earl McDermott now up in smoke. The Duckroll team's day has gone downhill ever since they cut that tire from a top 10 run. Megan Driver headed into the pits on lap 33. Laura Cyrus predictably staying out a few extra laps and picking up the lead, trying to lock up the most laps led for this race. Mo Lester all over the back of Ben Atkins in the 93. He gets into the back of Atkins, both cars into the wall. And that's a lot of damage to that 93 car. Ben Atkins was running 11th, and he's going to try to keep going and salvage what he can from this race. But that 93 car is definitely hurting. Ben Atkins not having much success in his few FARC starts this season. Bob Steffens into the side of Vincenzo Focusato, but he hangs on and gets around the 38 car for 4th in the grass. Steffens very lucky that he didn't embed that 7 car in the tire wall. The handling seems to have gone away on the 38, and Steffens came up on him very fast. Rachel Rainsford and Jared Pierce hard into the wall in the final corner. Rainsford up into the air, and both those cars out of the race. Rachel Rainsford, one of the defending winners here. She was running in 6th. Laura Cyrus pits the 3 car at the end of lap 37. That's going to hand the lead back over to Megan Driver. Ben Atkins now slow on the track. Alex Witt into the back of the 93. And that is going to end Atkins' day. Ben Atkins was hanging on to 13th. Kevin Monroe made a couple of unscheduled stops early on in the race, fell a few laps down, but thanks to the attrition rate in today's race, he's up to 15th. Mo Lester, contact with Caitlin Richler in the 84. Both cars into the wall. Focusato caught up in it. Mo Lester was running 15th, but now he drops out. Caitlin Richler not paying much attention in her FARC debut. Megan Driver pitting at the end of lap 42. 9 laps to go now in this 51-lap race. Laura Cyrus staying out once again with so few laps left. It must be tempting for the Motor Assault team to let Cyrus stay out there for the rest of the race, but they bring her in rather than risk her tires exploding. But the engine goes on Megan Driver's Lennard. Megan Driver was set to walk away with this race after the failures of Laura Cyrus, but now the engine up in smoke on that 40 car. And Laura Cyrus in the black number 3 goes back into the race lead. And these strange happenings of this early part of the FARC season, Cyrus falling behind and then climbing back up to the top after all of her competitors fall to the wayside. Bob Steffens now running in the second position, trying to put Ryan Matthews a lap down. Matthews, the points leader, coming into this race. He hasn't quite had the pace today, but he's doing what he needs to do, making the feature and staying out of trouble. And running a very distant third will be Michael Madrigal in the Pi car for Math Motors. If that car holds out, it's going to be a very good day for Math Motors. Madrigal finishing second in his 50-50 sprint, and now he's in position to finish third for the feature. Leslie Riggs, after cutting her tire earlier in the race, is back up into fourth. Just like Laura Cyrus and her teammate Kevin Monroe, by staying out of further trouble, she's gotten herself into a very good position. Alex Witt in the Bobby Porteau number 05 car, running in 6th place right now. He has not had much pace today, but once again, on a day like this, staying out of trouble is what you need to focus on the most, and the rest will fall into place. Alex Witt has not had a very good start to the FARC season, but today will definitely make up for that. In the meantime, Laura Cyrus in the black number 3 has only a few corners to go. Cyrus has been very fast in the 5 years that she's competed in the series, but today, after starting on the pole and overcoming a cut tire, Laura Cyrus comes across the line and finally claims her first FARC Elite Series victory. And to our reporters down in the pit lane, I bid you good luck in getting an interview with her. Cyrus, absolutely not a people person at all, but get her behind the wheel of a car and she will be right at home. Cyrus claims a full 110 points for winning the pole and leading the most laps. Bob Steffens coming home second, Michael Madrigal third, Leslie Riggs also overcoming a flat tire today to finish fourth, the last car on the lead lap. Alex Witt got by Ryan Matthews for 6th in the closing laps. Zachary Zins claims the high climber bonus after starting in 32nd and finishing 7th. Vincenzo Focusato, top 10 run for him, but it could have been better. However, the car really started to go away on him. And Kevin Monroe, talk about perseverance, he comes home 10th after struggling for much of the day. And Ryan Matthews leaves Mosport on top of the point standings once again. But Laura Cyrus, after her win, is closing in on that top spot. Zachary Zins sits in 3rd place, 5 top 10s in his 6 starts. Kiki Hitsuno putting the second Motor Assault car in the top 5. Anthony Griffith not running all of the races, but he sits 5th in points, well ahead of his teammate Bob Steffens, who sits 18th. Leslie Riggs and Michael Madrigal off to strong starts. They have 4 top 10s each. Andre Cunasa and Harry Esanola tied for 8th place. Isaac Leitner and Rachel Ransford both find themselves in the top 15 for Gravity Racing. Good start for them. Jeremy Baker and Megan Driver find themselves tied for 16th. Neither of them are running the full schedule. And Todd Stater rounds out the top 20 for Green Racing. And now, looking at the Rookie of the Year battle, Reed Bullitt, now that he's started to run some races, has lost the lead to Bobby Stewart, who's still sitting on the Rookie Shootout. James Hewitt and Tommy Ashby need to start running races as well, although I believe Ashby will be at Albuquerque next week. Jeremy Baker sits 2nd with an average finish of 10.8. His next serious challenger will be Vincenzo Focusato in 5th. 13.2 is his average finish. Our top 10 is fairly close, 7 positions separating 2nd through 10th. Going a bit further back in the field, Jared Pierce doing a pretty good job with that Stallman car. Average finish right in the top 20. And Mo Lester, sitting 15th, is starting to run some more races as well.